Hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Call this meeting to order at 7:04 p.m.
To the flag of the United States of
Of
America,
America and to the republic, indivisible.
Beth, I love your booming voice.
Sorry.
No. Okay. So has everyone had an opportunity to review our meeting minutes from our last meeting, the 18th of November?
Yep.
Any edits, questions?
No.
And if not, could I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the meeting minutes of November 18th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to our visitors this evening. Robin, hello, Robin. And we have Zach. Welcome, Zach.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to have you. Has anyone received any correspondence and or community input? No? None. None on the side. Beth, anything?
Nothing for me.
Right. Would anyone like to share? Take that as a no. So let's move on to the examination and authorization for the payment of bills.
The standard list of items, supplies, special ed related expenses. Total $68,649.86.
Could I have a motion to approve the roll?
Motion to approve the expenditure of $68,649.86 for the bill roll presented at the November 18th, 2025 school, or no, December 2nd, 2025 school.
Second.
That's beat me to it the last time. I just figured like.
Sorry, team. If it's easier for me to not
Oh,
do that.
no, I just assumed you were going to. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right,
Aye.
on to the superintendent's report.
Okay, the three items follow up from our last meeting. We have roped off with caution tape the doors open structure itself. We did discover who the original inspector was, but they're no longer business. Zach, folks from DPW aren't sure that the that. We're still looking for that, but it's been closed off from student use. Certainly not something that can be forever. Probably get away with it winter months, but come springtime, I think we'll have to make some kind of decision. They did say at the town hall meeting I was at today that they believe there was some funds donated to helping construct that. That sort of creates a little bit of a situation of folks who
Issues and like people will get upset that it gets taken down.
well, possibly only because of my experience in Rockville, where they took down the donated greenhouse that we had because the structure it was leaning against was not okay, so they took the whole thing down. Well, there was $40,000 donor, $20,000 donor.
I-
Might have come up with another solution, but they didn't. They just gone.
Yeah,
So that individual who was inclined to make support when asked again is not quite as interested as they might have been the first time, given their experience. So this is a smaller microcosm of that, but I just don't know all the history of who those are. We might be able to find out from Kevin who were those donors. It couldn't have been a huge amount of money because most of that was constructed out of natural items. So
when was it? Does anyone know?
Yes, and the questionable structure is a large stump with stumps going up. And that was somebody who had cut down a huge tree and donated it and dropped it off and stood it up. And then there were other tree sections. That wasn't really a monetary
Yeah, so that might not be
situation at all.
any more than emotional, possibly.
I
But
don't
it might have
think so.
been just Convenient
Got rid of
and
it.
not something somebody's wedded to 10 years later.
That's what I'm asking is, do we know how long ago that thing was built? I just don't know. I haven't been here that
Yeah,
long.
it's been a while.
It's like things do have useful lives, you know what I mean?
I mean, there was a folder there about Kevin under this year and Tom.
Okay,
So.
Yes, it was
Six, seven,
Kevin's project.
7, 8 years max
yeah.
amount of time. Probably appeared in maybe a second year as a project to, put your name on.
And we're just looking for a playground inspector, but a typical playground inspector won't go near that
They're
thing.
not gonna come to that.
No.
And, I'm not sure exactly who put their stamp of approval.
I have contacted a friend who works at a forest school and to see what they do with their structures. And I'm waiting to hear from her because their playgrounds are very woodsy and natural. And I'm sure things just kind of meet their maker at a certain
And that may
point.
be the solution. Some of those camps in Maine that are sort of nature camps and things like that, ropes courses have got to have some kind of inspection for kids to go across bridges from tree to tree and all that sort of stuff. So
Yeah,
I guess we can continue to dig on that. But right now, it's not a safety hazard for kids. And
we
we're
send
running-
kids to Essex Tech, right? I wonder if they would have any, just like the school would know of anybody that might be in that area.
They actually did a lot of work on the playground.
My
A
brother
lot-
went to Essex Tech.
Yeah,
So
and
he's a
they
farmer.
volunteered. And they were really helpful and they were great. So
I mean, my brother went there and he
Yeah.
used to tell me stories, we'd both be getting home from high school at the same time. And he was like, yeah, I ate my lunch 65 feet up in a tree today, hanging from a rope. So they do unique things
Yeah,
like
there are a lot
that.
of those,
They might just know of,
outward bound type places.
Yeah.
in Kiev.
yeah. Again, winter's here, so
We'll continue.
no one's gonna be out there
It's-
anyways,
Following a structure with ways to go from one to another. It's basically you go up and you go down.
Yeah.
It's unstable. And, there is a long slide slide to nowhere that, is like twice the length of the normal slide and it ends up going down into the nature. That's probably a little easier to get someone to say, not without X number of chips and padding and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That's very popular, with the older kids, especially on winter time, is very popular. You slide down into the snowbank or whatever. That we did not close off because the structure itself is not.
Oh, no, it's very stable. It's
Yeah.
just,
It's
as
just,
Greg mentioned, it's a natural, a stump, and it's getting older. It's.
so anyway, that's the answer to that one. Animal control, I gave you a copy of the
Yes.
town police bylaws.
Mhm.
And it's pretty specific about at no time shall a dog be on Johnson Elementary School property. Then there's a series of fines, $25, 50, 75, and then 100 per occurrence after that. Some of the discussion at town hall today was about fines for dogs that don't happen to be licensed and that sort of thing. And they haven't done very well at collecting those fines. You have to appear before the animal control officer, who's not a full-time individual, and make your case or whatever, but that they have not enforced the fines in recent memory of those that haven't licensed their dogs. They send letters. There's some discussion about how many letters they send when there's no, probably the town clerk was talking about, there's no money that comes out of that. People ignore those.
So I'm the only guy that's responding to those letters.
And
I actually paid late fees this year.
and it's the police department's responsibility to ticket an individual for that dog on the property. The gentleman who's an animal control officer is pursuing signage, so that there could at least be some obvious signs at the major locations.
The signs out front of, they've been there a while when they're
Yeah.
pretty faded.
Yeah, so he's gonna put some others up.
Great.
We'll see where we get on that. Other items, the chair and I tomorrow at 11 will meet with the new town administrator, Allison Nieto, to talk about our budget. Assuming that version 7 moves forward out of this meeting tonight, she'll be able to give us a little clearer picture of what the town is up against. Now that the town meeting that she was preparing for is over. They do know that they're facing close to a 20% increase in health insurance. And that there's either has to be a plan change or a change in terms and deductibles to bring that number down. But the town pays 65% of the insurance policy increase, and the employee pays 35%, which is actually pretty high compared to a lot of communities. Most are in the 75-25 or 80-20. So that has employees interested in what that final number will be and what that means to their bottom line. The number this year was, I guess, flying a little bit below the radar, but it was 18.7%. If you take back-to-back increases, and it's not due to our exposure or profile or number of employees, it's the company, the plan that they have. And it's an experience that's being faced by all municipalities and countrywide also, the discussion of health insurance. So that's out there. We'll get a better picture tomorrow of where we're at in terms of override talk. Our budget is perceived, at least by the initial kind of review, and that will occur tomorrow. Also, I'll put that under personnel. But I did do a quick shot of the greenhouse, which I think is worth looking at. It's on a stormy night, just a little while ago. Everything is now planted. That's radishes, beefsteak tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, kale, peas, peas, spinach down at the far end. These are hanging plants that will be part of a plant sale. Carrots down at the far end, lettuce, more cherry tomatoes, peas, and then spices at this end down here. So everything is growing well, no pest infestation yet. So where it's 35 degrees out, in that greenhouse it's 70 degrees right now and stuff's growing. We have 51 kids signed up. They're all obviously not able to work at this phase. So we have groups of 5 kids signing up per day to do the water. And then the next piece after this will be determining when it's ready to harvest and having a farmer's market delivering to the food bank. And I think that'll be the most exciting part of it because we can start to talk about economics and pricing, salesmanship, and advertising, all those kind of things that I think the kid will be excited about. So I think it's going well so far. These are donated at the top. Those are camellias, lilies, is the name of them. And you cut them all the way back, and in just 2 weeks, completely cut back, they've already sprouted and make a beautiful orange flower. So theoretically, maybe sometime before Valentine's Day, that's part of the farmers market sale. Remember, you want roses, a nice orange cantaloupe lily will also serve the purpose of the spirit of Valentine's Day, I think. So I think the kids are excited about it. It's going well. To that.
And it's nice to see some green. It
Yeah.
looks great, doesn't it look really, really inviting?
So that would be it for my report, except for the personnel part, which I can do after everybody's.
So things are going well. We did have a nice little break in there, so there's not a ton to report. I've been meeting with teachers for pre-observation meetings instead of my observation cycle. And I just wanted to say how much I'm genuinely enjoying the whole process with our teachers and seeing the amount of dedication that's putting into their lesson plans. Very thoughtful discussions and really open to change or improvements. The way I'm meeting this is different than what they're used to. So I lead with a pre-observation where they come to me with a lesson plan, we go over it. We talk about areas where we can build in student discourse. That's something we've been working on. Areas for improvement. How might you change it? A lot of questions from me that then they're like, oh, I never thought of doing that. So it's more of when we go for the observation, they're taking risks to try things that they know can improve their instruction so that I can give them feedback on that. So then that has been something that I do a full write-up for them that when I go into the classroom, I script the whole time I'm in there. So I'll do like a whole row of inference notes, writing down what I hear, and then take that and divide it into the 4 standards that they get evaluated for DESE. So then I give them feedback evaluation from their notes that feed into each standard, and then give them an action step for standard that they can work on to improve for their students in their classroom. So far so good. It's been well received. I'm loving it. It's like that's my forte. It's like curriculum instruction. So I've been really loving that. And I've sent out in my staff communications, just asking them if they can prioritize when they need me, in addition to the other responsibilities of principal, how to problem solve some things on their own so that I don't have to get pulled out of people's classrooms and I can give people the time they need so that we can improve instruction. And I feel like they're doing a great job with that and handling that, checking in frequently. This is like a busy stretch right now between report cards and then the holidays. And the kids already think it's Christmas. So there's a little uptick of chit chat and just not really following expectations, but it's December and that's kind of what happened, so we're rolling with that. Staff has been really great about demonstrating kindness as well, and they put up a tree in the staff room, and there are little tickets on it that say like Target and all, so they're doing donations as a staff for community members who are in need. So we put a memo out to families saying, you know, that we looking for anyone who's having a hard time right now, and we had a confidential form that people can fill out, and we've gotten quite a bit. So we have those up and people are donating, but I would like to extend that offer out to the community if anyone's interested in doing that. I first wanted to run it past you to see if you felt like that was kosher to do something like that. Because it seems like there's more initiative than I think they've had in the past. So we're looking for like Target gift cards and whatever, for divide gifts for students. So that's something that I'm looking at. The staff is just excited to do those type of things for the community. So that's a plus. I think that's fantastic. You're on board with that, if I share that with parents.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ben, you on board with that? Have they stopped doing that?
They've done it as a staff. They've never had outside community participation.
Oh, okay, but
It's just a
no, but that's wonderful.
Heather, did you ask me a question? I'm sorry. It's a little there's an echo, so I'm catching like,
I think you have two windows open, that's why.
no, I shut one. I was on the phone before, but this iPhone 4 is somebody else.
Okay. No, my question was, do you have any objection to Parent Square going out in regards to needs within the community?
Donations for the holiday season.
Oh, God, no. I think it's a good idea.
So that's wonderful, that's it. And then the student council's also doing a toy drive. So we're trying to get some, toys out for kids in need. And the food drive for the student council is ending this week, and plenty of food coming in, which is nice. At first it was really slow, and we're all like, oh no, we have like 3 cans of something, we're go into that. But this week, I think after the holidays, people are like, oh, we didn't use this stuffing, we didn't use this, so things like have been coming, which is great to see that. So there's a lot of giving back, which is a wonderful thing to see from our community. And then for like fundraisers and the things going on, PTO, the gift wrap fundraiser is coming to a close on Friday or Monday, actually, Monday. And then candy cane grams are starting up. So those are next on the docket. And our Christmas tree sales are still going on and started already.
I know they're looking for volunteers.
Yes, strong need for volunteers for that.
Well, I looked online and it looked like Saturdays are like the only days that are open for volunteers.
I think that's the only day they're only open on the weekend.
No, they do Thursday, Friday,
Yeah, Thursday.
and then Saturday, Sunday. And it's like Thursday and Friday were booked right up solid. So, yeah,
Yeah, no one's gonna do that.
Saturday morning at 10 a.m.
When there was very sparse and I had spoken to Mariana, so that's great.
I went on last week, I think, and there was
Okay.
nothing for Thursday and Friday available. I know that. So it looked like it was filling up.
Nice. That's great to hear.
Saturdays. People are available Saturday morning.
Yeah, so that is they're excited. The teachers are going, I think, in the other day in the 7th or something like that. I'm looking to time, so it's probably not a good idea for me to go, but they are excited about it. They can't wait to go have some hot cocoa and do some fun stuff together. So I'm pretty maybe there'll be an uptick in sales that day. And then the report cards went out through school brains, and I just want to do like a shout out to Chris Patsos and Sherry April for the support they gave me in making sure it went smoothly. I think I drove them absolutely crazy. So I'm like, I want step-by-step directions. I want to make sure that this goes out. We had to test everything. We had to set up test accounts, and they were like, we don't do this. I'm like, you do now. So it was like a lot of making sure. And we only got one phone call of a family that didn't have the right password, but they had 3 accounts that they had opened over the years. So we were able to fix that for that. We did not have any problems. You didn't do anything. Just good. That's the goal. So shout out to them for their help, because I definitely might have been driving you through that day. Oh, and then the Lobstars, our singers, they are going to be performing for the Nahant Senior Council at their holiday party at the Knights of Columbus, and that is on December 19th. So they're going to walk over and sing for about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or whatever, and then they're going to walk back over. But they're excited because it's their first on the road tour that they're doing. So they're really happy about that.
That's great.
Yeah, very exciting. What else? Oh, the new hire. So we had a Mary Kate McCarthy. She resigned from her position as an ESP. So we posted the ESP position for tonight. At the end of the evening, we'll hit the 10 days that we have to post, and then I'll probably be doing some interviews at the end of the week. We do have 2 applications that came in, so I'll interview both candidates and hopefully they can accept to an interview, and then we will hire them. So excited for that. So looking ahead for this coming next couple of weeks, I'll continue with observation. Our holiday concerts are coming up. So December 12th and December 19th are the 2 dates. They were going to be housed here. I know in the past they've been at Town Hall, I think, but they're going to be here at the school. The music teacher just feels like them in their own space for the little kids is a better choice for them. So the December 12th at 9 a.m. is grade 4 through 6 winter concert in the Left Lobster Trap Cafe. And that Friday, December 19th at 9 a.m. is the kindergarten through 3rd grade winter concert, which I will be reading a story in the middle of it. So if you want some entertainment along with the children, check it out. And I think that is all that update. And I hope you all have a nice Thanksgiving weekend. I hope you do. So moving back to personnel updates.
And just give you a little update on special service director position and the team chair. The team chair had resigned. Pretty hard to find a part-time chair, but the special services director was taking that on, and that'll be woven into that contract for about the same amount of money that was applied to the salary of the individual that worked for us is the increase in the contract. So that individual will have more days, more hours, more time, but the cost would be about where we were the last time, which was in $88,000, which was 30 or 40 more than what we really had available. We just have to deal with that. But the financial exposure and situation is about the same where we're at. But we do have a position.
That's
And
wonderful.
it's kind of good that it's and leave it back.
Exactly. That's wonderful.
That's very good. They also discovered that.
That's fantastic, Rob.
Thank you. We have a review this spring by Jesse of SPED, and in reviewing the files and IEPs, the new special service director discovered that a lot of the formatting of paperwork is out of date, needs to be updated. So there were some hours woven in as a one-time cost for her to get that to a point that we won't be in violation, and then told, now you gotta fix this and have so much time to do it. So we're gonna upfront that. And she's got the expertise to go through and say, well, that's not right, that has to be in this format. And that will only benefit us a lot better.
Definitely.
Doing that ahead of time, hold that back, and you weren't doing it right for X number. So that's where we're at with that.
So let's move on to old business being the budget.
Right, so we visited this 6 previous times. This is now version 7. We might want to turn that so that folks can see it over on the screen. I did send this again to you folks.
I've got it pulled up, Rob, thank you.
This cover sheet right here hasn't been changed, but it includes the new updated numbers. Version 7's proposed budget is now at 11.44% increase from FY26. It's an amount increase of $555,451.81. Again, by comparison, FY26 was 2.36%, an increase of $112,109, which we all knew was really not the amount that accounted for salary changes and all those kind of things that were going on. That was a very, very lean number. And this is a number that adjusts for that and adds the position if you want to make sure that we're in there, especially if the override is possible. Consider time to get those things funded that are going to help out our kids over a long period of time in there. All salary adjustments in there are still at 3.5% related to negotiated agreements. Increase of 2 ESPs is still in there. Version 7 does include the expansion of the present 0.37 FTE ELL math interventionist for full time. The other part of her job was in the preschool, and now we have to hire a full-time preschool teacher to replace Katie. Katie that expanded her time, Katie Pastor, from 0.37 to full-time ELL math interventionist. And it also includes the addition of the full-time literacy coach. So this one here you'll see is in the budget details about a $79,000 item, and this is a $75,000 item. It doesn't include the cost of additional health insurance for the town side of the budget, which would be the result of adding a additional full-time position. There's increased 10,000 professional development, contract and service line to account for special services that we've already talked about. Occupational therapist increase because that's a contracted position now. Swampscott's tuition agreement. Out of district sped total increase from the previous year for tuition to $177,687 of that $500,000. And transportation is $105,000 for a combined increase of $282,810. We offset that by going to the circuit breaker amount, which remember we were, well, not you, I was carrying a lower number on that and was convinced, inspired, motivated, ordered, directed, whatever the term might be, to change that number down and not raid that account, which not only handles future cost and sped increases that go up every year, circuit breaker contribution goes down, but also handles an unknown child right now who could appear, who's going to school here, who all of a sudden is not able to go there anymore and requires a different out-of-district placement than we already have. So that is good business sense to lower that amount down and carry a higher buffer in that circuit breaker fund. And I've been convinced of that, and I'm okay with that. The actual detail of the budget is in this one. You want to go through line by line, again, you go to there. This one here does show the circuit breaker out of district tuition number. This is what I figure we would have at the end of next year. Instead of that had been a smaller number, we would have close to 300,000 in reserve in our circuit breaker before the next increment came as a result of this year's placements. So that's a lot better than the number we had last time when I presented the budget. So that's that. In the preschool number, that still is a little tenuous in that we're paying salaries out of that and have been paying salaries out of that. That goes up year by year. It pays for the 2 preschool folks. It pays for ESPs, and it pays for a lunch bunch individual that works in that. It was 204,000. Excuse me, it was 184. And then it goes to 204. This tab will show you the subsequent year. It goes to 214. Same individual, but just inflate their salaries and their staff. And you have to go from 84, 94, $30,000 increase to account for a 2-year change using the same personnel that's coming out of those fees. So that is a situation that we reduced the total amount we were going to take this year when we committed 108,000 of preschool funds. This next year's budget projects that we would take $57,000, and then the 180,000 for the salary part takes a balance at the end of last year of 232 and leaves it at 159, and then the end of next year at 123, and then at 82. So I put the danger flag right up here, not sustainable. You can't keep going on a glide slope from a balance of 232 to 159 to 123 to 82. Your preschool funds, even with their 2.5% escalator, assuming you have the same enrollment, which is a little risky, you don't know if you're going to have that. You're going to run out of funds in the preschool account in a couple of years. So the message on this one is, yeah, we can probably do it one more year and decrease the amount from $108,000 commitment to a $57,000 commitment. But we can't even maintain the 57 going forward. That would have to drop out if we continue to cover the salaries. Because those salaries are going to go 180, 204, 214, 220, or whatever. And that's not going to take very long to eat the 57. And then at that point, the preschool funding somewhere down the line, 5, 6, 7 years, assuming same enrollment and assuming only a 2.5% escalator in the fee that's charged, won't be able to handle all those salaries. So that'll have to be presented as a disclaimer that the out-of-district circuit breaker we're probably okay with. This one here is a short-term solution, and we had pretty well described that last year as a short-term solution and reduced it this year to a much smaller commitment than what we had been asked to do. Remember, they included last year a health insurance. One of the town's health insurance was charged $108,000. We were taking 79 of preschool funds, another 28 for a town health insurance for the total of 108. Now we're doing away with the town health insurance, and we're reducing the 70,000 down to 50,000. And that will work next year. It will most likely work the year after. And then that is not a solution. That is a long-term thing that can get us through that aspect of the budget.
Did we know about the town health insurance being added to that last year?
Yeah.
I thought that what we were trying to do was capture what this preschool actually pursues for resources to like get an honest assessment. Because I guess one thing for me is we've got a 2.5% increase and we've agreed to pay our teachers 3.5% more each year. Right?
Well, yeah, that staffing is coming out of there.
So like that math right there,
2.5.
you're down 1% right off the bat. Like
Well, it's actually even a little more than that, because it doesn't include some
the
steps.
steps. Yeah, once you jump up the step and the 3.5, then you're
people.
yeah.
Somebody leaves.
But
and-
Greg, one of the problems that we were facing though, when we did those increases for the staff was that, you know, politically, there were 3 communities in our areas that were all striking, which isn't even supposed to be a thing in Massachusetts. And no, I don't think you are. I just at all. I just wanted to throw that out there just because
My
there's a
point is,
lot.
you're increasing the tuition to 2.5% a year, but your employee cost alone is going up at 3.5% a year.
Exactly, 0% off, right? Yeah,
That doesn't work.
Right, and this is
it doesn't work. It doesn't work, but the other considerations that we had during the negotiations also didn't work. And I think, you know, we were trying to accomplish that then.
But I'm
And
saying
now we have to,
is I know I keep beating this drum, but I don't want to drain these accounts if we're going for an override.
no, I know, I get it.
Well, the override, I think we're taking into account that preschool can't do this, can't do it going forward. It's one of the.
But they'd still take 57. Would they still expect that 57,000 year after year? I mean,
That would have to be built into the.
you'd have to pull that out.
Correct.
So I guess what I'm saying is, should we be pulling that out anyways to show them this is the true number that we need? Not all of it.
Mhm.
Because like, I also don't think it's fair to say, well, the preschool only pays for the salaries of the people that are working there because it uses other resources. Like, I'm trying to say on like an honest, you know, what does that preschool cost? Truly cost compared to
That's a great point. That's a great point.
numbers out there where it's like, I don't know, maybe it does take the 57 and we're way undercharging. I'm a preschool parent. So I'm talking about someone who pays this tuition, but maybe I'm not paying enough. I don't know. Like
At
maybe
least those salaries are covered by the fee. Those percents of how much of Riley's time, she's full-time, but we're counting 6% of her time as preschool. 6% of her time as preschool. 6% of that whole list of items we're now counting there. I would,
and that goes into the 200 number.
yes.
I thought the 200 was just these,
No, it doesn't go into that tool. Those are just the salary.
but that's what I'm saying, Rob, is we don't have an accurate picture of what that preschool actually costs to run because
But what I'm saying, I guess, is if you were gonna have that Riley, I would argue you're gonna have her as full-time, whether preschool is here or not. I don't.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah,
9-1.
yeah, and the heat would be on no matter what.
But to call it
Building
spade a
costs are
spade,
fixed.
6% of the time in
Yeah.
this model is being allocated to preschool.
I hear what you're saying, though.
6% of.
No, I hear what you're saying.
Because I don't think Riley would be here, as an example, if she wasn't full-time. For a period of time, she was less than that. We moved
Yeah.
her up to full-time, kept her around, kept a good person, a really good person. Good trust, work with, and hard to replace.
Yeah,
But yes, she does see preschool kids, she does deal with
But-
that. And,
but how much did you say?
well, right now, remember, we're looking, if you look at the detail, anywhere where it says 6%.
6%. Okay, 6%. Okay.
So as
Yeah.
an example.
Yeah.
Superintendent's office, it's saying that 6% of Sherry and my salary somehow is now gonna be charged to preschool.
But you would be here whether the preschool is there or not. It's your
I wouldn't be 2
position.
days a week, I wouldn't be 1.5 days a week, or 1.7 days a week.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
And how much do I deal with preschool kids? Zero. I deal with kindergarten kids, but we have allocated it. Sherry obviously does phone call.
Yeah.
And part of her time is the kids are out, kids are dismissed.
But your position is those people would be here regardless, so it's not like a cost set, so you, for you, if we're taking care of the salaries for the preschool, then that's,
Yeah, and
I know.
I think we're okay with it.
okay.
But in reality, the model doesn't sustain itself when you apply this.
The extra 60 grand.
This valuable. Right?
So it covers all of its information.
I mean, Heather's an example, the nurse is an example.
Eventually the salaries.
You're not gonna have Cheryl Delisio be 0.87 or something like
Yeah,
that.
no, I understand what you're saying, that makes sense.
So all those lines that say move 0.6, move 0.6, move 0.6, the tech person,
But we need to make sure that the preschool maintains enough just to stay self-sustainable with salaries and the steps and all of that. And you're saying if we keep drawing on it, an extra, I mean, okay, it's 200 grand, we're drawing another 50.
yeah,
You're taking an additional 25%,
will have to expire.
that's an extra 25%, you know?
That's gonna have to go away. So it's gone from 108 to 57. I'd argue the next build, it might,
20.
I would have come up with that number, and then it's done,
And stuff.
except for its salaries. And that has to be, you know, sold, not sold, because I don't think it's selling, has to be explained tomorrow, too, how that's working. Because I think last year, the town was struggling to create a balanced budget without having to do an override. And they asked for certain things, and they asked the school for X, including the town health insurance, and that's how Tony got to balance all the different lines. I don't know what the police were asked to do, or what DPW was asked to do, or fire, but I think all were put in position where they had to hold back on things they wanted or needed. And it wasn't gonna be sustainable, that they knew, I believe they knew and even spoke about the fact that overall would have to come at some point. And that this was the year that they predicted it would happen. So we'll just have to communication. And we have a budget without a lot of fluff in it. Those two positions are not fluff, they're expansion to handle student needs and, you know, are instrumental to a student's future. And otherwise than that, a lot of these lines are carved down over the supply line and all those things. It still generates a $500,000 increase. A huge percentage of it, 30%, is wound into uncontrollable but necessary and deserved special education.
Well, and then you have transportation, and it's like 50%.
Right, and those rise at higher than what your percentage is. You know, they're at 3, 4, 5%. I think we're at a point where, in my mind, we have a presentable budget for tomorrow and to move forward based on what we do. I haven't heard any revenue projections and all that stuff. Then if it doesn't pass, what is the default position there? I mean, our only default position really would be whatever was added, not a whole lot else you can do. We'd have to jettison the position now, but and then you'd be carving into the meat of the school. Really good. This is an operation that does not have a lot of bells and whistles. Not like those little that. able to be brought to a point that they construction, we're talking about those two positions should be generating savings in our out-of-district placement over time. We should see less kids having to be placed out because there's a math question, because there's an ELL special.
I mean, the other thing that the town risks is they've seen it before. People just pick up their kids and they move them to other schools, and then the money's just leaving the school district and it's going elsewhere. Like,
And we didn't see that this year.
No.
It's a very fickle, delicate trust that's there at this moment, and it can go away in an instant. And there's a wait and see about,
For sure.
okay, we see promise, we see this and that. But I'm not sure it's a wholesale swing to Nahant or bust. I think people are going to advocate for the best education, as they should. You've already been through seeing the upper grades lose kids, and we didn't see that. I don't think it's a one-time blip. I think it's a trust factor that's there.
Keep them like coming back. One is going to be the first grade, the oldest of them. And the other, I think, is third or fourth. For next year.
So that's all the detail. If folks are at least reasonably comfortable with that profile, you could consider a motion that would adopt a proposed budget of $5,409,319,288, which is $555,451.81 more than last year's amount, and it's an 11.4. I think the bottom line number is that, because that's the amount that's raised somehow that it's done through the common swing.
that includes the 57. How do we make it clear that like years going forward that 57 is not going to work? Because like, I guess maybe I don't understand how an override works entirely. Like they jack up the tax for a year to fund what we need, but then it goes back down to a 2.5% increase per year, right?
Yeah, but what they're doing is taking the, I'm going to do this in proper. When you take your base up, then the 2.5% is on that new increased base.
So you
And
brought everything up to
you
a
get-
line where
You get a period
I
of
gotcha.
time. It doesn't carry you.
it's stepping.
It doesn't carry you forever, but it's something that gets you out of the tightness situation that you're in. And ours was set up for every 5 to 7 years. You have to consider doing an override. If the school only asked for X, the town provided you with Y, then 7 years from that point, you'd have to have another override. It wouldn't be immense. People would know it was coming. They'd know the effect.
Again, I just want to I wasn't clear that it doesn't go back down at like, oh, all right, you got your bump and now because then we'd just be feeling.
So they raise the amount that they can.
For 1 year, they jack it up and then they keep going.
And then 2.5% law is is based on that. Otherwise, it's only based on new growth, that sort of thing.
Very good.
It can't sustain itself.
No, not this.
2.5% in a world of
7% inflation.
yeah. In our case, separate services costs that are rightly deserved, but salary raises. Full time. That would be easy to hard argument. Forward. So
Full-time, yeah, full-time. The data that we have when we were looking at NCAS scores. Remember Flash? Our data.
what's important about that?
Yeah, I know.
Small class sizes,
And the swing can be
undulation,
very,
both up
very
and
rapid.
down. Goes up, you're going, wow, look at us. When it goes down, you say, oh, it's because of this and because of that. If you do a 3-year trend, you can't hide behind the woe is me, because if the slope is progressively downward or progressively upward, I think you then can say, yeah, we're heading to the promised land. But with one class per grade in most cases, and different special ed population or, population of academic need, there's such a change in those numbers. I would want to see the 3-year trend graph. And I think the year before, your school-wide scores were touted as pretty good. So it wasn't just like in 1 year the kids stopped. There was a COVID effect and all that.
But we were off by like 20%, weren't we, on some of those scores? I mean, they weren't like, yeah, it wasn't like, oh, 3%. I mean, we were down 20%.
What I'm saying is the makeup of those grades, you really want to look at.
I get it. The averages
that
get
group of
skewed.
kids
Yeah.
that were 5th grade. Where are they as 6th grade?
But they don't do the
were
MCAS
a
every year like that, do
You
they?
can't say, now what's happened to 6th grade?
Do they do it every
You
year?
gotta
So you
look
can
at
track
what that 5th grade was when they were 5th grade.
like 3rd grade and 6th grade.
No,
We're looking
it's
at the
every-
average.
It's from
Those-
3rd grade
Those
on.
big graphs.
Each grade, we looked at each individual grade and we looked at that collectively, and I think I did a third year. I must pull my record.
And the real telling numbers in the MCAS, as far as I'm concerned, is that student growth was not good. That if your student growth is good, what that does is take, let's say we're a class, and we scored at X this year. Now we take the MCAS, and we did pretty well. They compare us for a student growth profile to all of the kids statewide that scored like us last year. How much did they grow, that 30,000 or 50,000 kids, versus how much did we grow? And a high growth score means, even though our raw score didn't shoot the moon, our growth did. Under the effect of that teacher that year, which is a measure of the instructor, was great, because over that year, we grew compared to a huge population of kids statewide who had multiple teachers of all kinds of different levels. But even in our school, sometimes we're small enough of a grade that we don't even get growth profile. We have to have 10 or 12 kids per grade, or they won't even give you.
Sixth grade, remember, I couldn't report.
But if you're the Worcester school system, or even Swampscott, every grade has a growth profile. And there are weaker and stronger cohorts per grade. I always used to say, what's that growth score? And if it's not impressive, then their score could be high, but they might have been all all sort of rocket scientists in that cohort. And under my teaching, they didn't get any better. They didn't grow at all. And I'm running around saying, yeah, look at their scores. No, how much did they grow? You got dealt a set of cards when they walked in September. And when they took that test, the effect of my teaching and their parenting of their parents, their support should show remarkable growth over that time if I'm good educated. But the raw score is a little defective. And in a smaller school, it's not trying to say that's an excuse, because there are times where you've got to look, where it's a badge of courage and say, wow, look how great you did. I don't know what your scores were 2 or 3 years ago, but if they were higher and then you had this flip, it's either an aberration or there was an effect. And some of it could be by new staffing. Sometimes when you put a new program in, like the new math program, you don't see the instant result of the program. It takes a couple of years before you see the effect. And you have to be willing to get through that dip before you see the strength of the program.
As we move forward, I think it's important to show the data. So if you can do an analysis over time, I think it would be better.
I mean, just, even the report I did, I'm just perusing through it right now. Looking,
Hey, Patty, I can't hear you. And I can hear Greg, but I can't hear you and Miss Thibault.
Oh, I'm sorry, Beth.
Maybe we could, yeah, there we go. Thank you.
And it's a fact that most
Much
schools
better. Yeah, much better.
have English math specialists and they have literacy coaches. They're spread across more kids, but they have those individuals. Here you just have your classroom teacher that's got 15, 16, 17 kids or whatever, and not necessarily the time to be able to focus and drill down.
But it seems like in a place like this, those people would be even more important because they've got no
Yeah,
one to go to.
I'm not downplaying their importance.
Yeah, they've
I'm just
got
saying
no-
that most school systems will say, hey, we have a 2 ELL, like in Rockport, there's a math specialist in the elementary and in the middle high school. There are 2 individuals. And that's a district with 600 total kids.
Right.
And you're a district with
175.
175.
No, Beth, what I was saying earlier was the importance of data. And what does that data show in order to support the addition of a full-time literacy coach and moving to a full-time ELA math interventionist?
But certainly those scores, just in them themselves from last year, show the importance for that group of having been able to have benefited from the work of those individuals. I'm just saying over time, you have to be a little careful not to, the sky is falling out of a 1-year score. You can't say the sky is not falling out of a 3-year average. Somebody showing you that would say, explain that to me over a 3-year period of time. That glide slope down. Something's wrong. Programmatic, instructional, or whatever. Leadership, doesn't matter what it is. But the 1-year blips can be an aberration one way or the other, especially in small schools. You don't find that in a big district because it evens out.
Yeah. It's a law of averages.
Yeah.
I mean, the comparison that I did was from state to our school. And my rule of thumb is no matter how big or small your school is, when you compare to the state average, you gotta be above it. And like,
Yeah.
So that's to me where I came up with those positions, because what I was saying, I'm excited about doing the teachers and asking them to just like give me grace right now. It's hard to be the only one who's doing all of that, and it's also doing professional development and doing all of those pieces. So that really, it's a lot for one person to do.
The work that Heather's doing, we may not see that for 2 or 3 years, in terms of when it really starts to blossom.
Yeah.
But it sounds like all of the other communities around us have these positions filled. So doesn't that make us the oddball out? You can run a business with 3 people, but you can run a really good business with 5. So what do you want to do?
And if you look at the Department of Ed, the Department of Ed suggestions, right now, there are a whole bunch of grants that just got pushed through for, in professional learning that's available. Because the scores in literacy across the United States are so poor, Massachusetts is investing so much money into try to help our staff. I had Katie Pastor signed up today for Orton Gillingham training. It's the state's offering it free. We're hoping she gets selected to be the person. She's our interventionist. If we can get that for free, that's unheard of in my 28 years that they're giving away Orton Gillingham.
Yeah.
So the state is investing in that. Their website, if you go in and look around what this is all around literacy and all around coaches and the improvements you get from instructional coaching and having someone who the teachers can go to on a regular basis to lesson plan, to look at their, come in my class, do observation, give me feedback. How do I get better than you know? How do we improve? How do we look at the data? How do we make things go to improve in our instructional practice? So those roles alone, other districts have that. And they have that already there. And we're over here like, can we just get that?
I mean, Patty,
It's
would
not
any of
an
that
extra.
stuff help? Like, if you presented that, like, look, this is what the Department of Education is recommending. Like, we're just behind. Like, this isn't a matter of us getting ahead. It's a matter of us catching up. I mean, you said data, so maybe
It does.
like, this is like the state guidance that you have.
I think it'd be interesting to see a 3 year.
I can't imagine us not doing this. I feel like we had a big conversation at the last school committee meeting about the data, the achievement data, and when you add in the national data, like Heather was just saying, as well as the most recent MCAS, data statewide, I think we're going to get hit harder in a smaller district where every one kid matters a lot percentage wise. And I'm also getting pushed. I run a school exactly the same size as our school here. And we do have somebody in this position in addition to an instructional principal. And we're getting pushed to hire more. Now, granted, I serve a vastly different target population than Nahant Public Schools, but I've pushed for this for 2 years because I do believe we need these positions. And I think if we're also going to run a school system with really good culture, really good communication with parents, all these really important events that are bringing so much to the kids. Heather's eyes have to be on all of that, and she cannot do the deep instructional work and this and the other things, that she does as a support and partner to Rob. So that's my 2 cents. It feels this juice is worth the squeeze.
I completely agree.
Ready for a motion?
I am. Does anyone else have any questions in regards to these bullet points? If not, would someone like to make a motion? And I know there's this big. I don't know what that is.
The motion to approve the proposed fiscal year 2027 Johnson Elementary School budget totaling $5,409,892.88.
Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
I
Thank- I know this is version number 7.
I know.
And it's greatly appreciated.
I appreciate the thought.
I don't think I've ever heard.
I've never
those
been
words.
called a yes man, that's for sure, and I'm sorry for that, Rob.
I think the best part is that everybody's focused on what's right for the kids. I think your decision making and coming to that term is my observation is that that's really what it keeps coming back to this work.
Make that very clear. Oh, absolutely.
All right.
So moving on to new business.
Well, that was our new business. We didn't have any old.
Okay. Possible. Okay, So we put that under new song. Okay, so we've taken care of old business, new business, any future agenda items? That we want to add?
So we're putting the strategic planning committee together. Yeah, had staff step forward. Yeah. Put up the bad sign. Busy. I think it would be around 4 meetings. I think we should be looking at what some other school systems have used right now. I don't know what Swampscott have. They must have a 5-year plan, 3-year plan. If they don't, they should. What does it look like? I think we would have the group identify the pillars. What is the foundation of the pillars, and then some of the specifics about who does what, when, and how can be done, through the administration. It's not the overarching philosophy goal. And I think they have to see it, approve of it, be able to have input into it, but not drag them through meeting after meeting after meeting where they do what you pay people.
We talked earlier about using our school improvement plan and having it, because that's what we've been working off of really taking that and then, like, what do we project the next 3 years? What are our needs for that? And then also then what we discussed tonight, what are some of the needs so that we can make sure kids are getting the best education? So breaking it into the 4, so if we can get it down to like 3 main areas instead of having 6, I think we roll with 6 or 7.
Yes. Yes, it did.
The tighter, the more you get out of it, right? The more focused, the more strategic we are, and the more we can really attach the work we have to do and make it achievable. And then that will help us not be 3 years for good. We've got it down to 4 minutes.
And I think it's gone out to the community for.
What I did was I sent out an email to my teachers and I asked if they had any parents that they thought would want to be reached out to or to participate. Would you think if someone who's fully invested and you really want to be a part of this work? I'm starting that approach first, and I have one person that I sent an email out and wanted to kind of this, like, bidders and all that. So we'll see on that one, and then if I don't get any more papers that way, then I'll blanket it out to everybody. But there will be a portion of that, of the whole process that we're thinking about bringing up to the committee on the first night is around doing a survey for parents, so everyone has a voice. It's just who we have on the committee. My concern with throwing it out to everyone initially is that I don't want the people to be like, I'm coming in and I'm doing it because I don't like this. Like, that's not the purpose of this, right? I really want to try to seek out people who are really genuinely invested, and then those people have their voice in the surveys, and then we look for parents. Make sure that the right people.
Any other? Have a motion.
Looking to adjourn at 8:16 p.m.
Second, anyone?
Second.
Aye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for the letter.
Here, sign that.
Thank you.
I had the pleasure of seeing